Brodes Media.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Well, the Phillies unfortunately lost this third game, so there's no sweep, but they still took two. And it's funny because I'm actually chilling. I'm okay. I'm cool. Maybe it's because my mindset shifted 24 hours ago when I said I was willing to let my guard down and just accept they are who they are, and we'll go on a second half push here and see where it takes us in the playoffs. So I got to imagine it's because I'm in this new state. But a lot of the fans seem aggravated and pissed and not satisfied because they left meat on the bone, because they should have swept Baltimore, because the New York Mets just got swept by Cleveland and almost no hits, and it looks like they are absolutely tumbling in the wrong direction, and this is the golden opportunity to run away with the division more than you are. But I guess it really does come back to mindset. I think it's a new Brodes. I came to conclusion that not only am I accepting who they are for now, but there's really only maybe 2 series left that can really sway me the other way. And that's the New York Mets series in Citi Field and the Milwaukee Brewers early September. Now, don't get me wrong. If they collapse in Texas and get swept, I'm going to be pissed. It's really just if they win certain series, it's not going to do much for me. There's only a few that can really hit my emotional heartstrings. Getting revenge in Citi Field, facing Milwaukee, and then I think there's another Mets series, right? Now, when's that other Mets series? Let's take a look here. Probably should have done this research before. You got the Mets, then you got the Braves. When's that other one? September after Milwaukee. And then after the Marlins, there's a home series, September 8th, 9th, and 10th, and 11th. There's 4 games at CBP. That one can do a lot, too. Oh, and then the Dodgers one. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I got to shut up. I forget everything I just said. What's up, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Brodes. I'm not as bothered as everybody else is that they didn't get the sweep because I think I know who they are now. It goes right back into what I was saying in yesterday's program, okay, which was I've already went through the assessment period. I got all the data I need. There's still a couple of tests remaining, and I can't wait to see if they have the answers to the test or not. When we see New York for 7 more games, when we see a team like Milwaukee. But for now, this is it. This is no surprise. They struggle to get the sweeps all the time. Why would anything change now that we are this deep into the season? You get my point? All right. Okay. Let's get into actually what went down on the field, shall we? Ranger Suarez. The 4th inning went from 0 to 100 real quick. Tie ball game to what the fuck? It's 4-0? Holy shit, that ball went how far to left field? And then in the 7th, more damage was done. I don't know. I don't know with Ranger. Not everything was putrid. Not everything was horrible, but there are times where he's more in grind mode. And to his credit, he does grind, but it's not as gorgeous as we need it to be either. And the results, like, this isn't good enough. Fair? This isn't good enough. We have to eliminate that 3-run jack. We got to eliminate if he gets the nod in the 7th inning. The 7th inning looking the way that it did so the other team can't get any added insurance. If we're going to rely on this pitching staff being what is the workhorse of this squad as we roll into the postseason. And it stings because now you're dealing with Zach Wheeler having some sort of injury. Now, they got an MRI, and I guess the information came back 2 thumbs up, but they said the same thing with Alec Boehm. And then they pushed his start back over the weekend, and they're maneuvering him around so he gets more time to rest. That is sounding the alarms for me. Because the reason why I was willing to let my guard down was very simple. It started with superstar talent. It started with Bryce, Kyle, and Wheeler and Sanchez, with the way those two have been throwing. And I know it's been a bit tougher for Wheeler, but I trust Zach Wheeler in totality. You add the wrinkle of an injury, and it breaks me down. Oh, it hurts. It changes a lot. So we're monitoring that situation. And with Ranger, they squandered a lot of opportunities to score runs. Trey had a triple, nothing. You had first and third with Trey, the top of your lineup up. So it was what? Trey, Kyle, Bryce, and Nick. You only get 1 run across the board. Well, that's deflating. And maybe they thought, hey, we already got the dub with the series. We already got the first 2 wins. Whatever. I don't know. I'm not necessarily sure exactly why it felt so dead. It's a quick turnaround. It's a 12:30 start. It's a bizarre time, but you would like for killer instinct to kick in, right? You would like for this group to establish themselves as killers, and looking at the opportunity with the New York Mets free falling and collapsing. Let's get some separation. But the truth is, this thing is most likely going to be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until the final game is completed. You're not going to know until maybe 1 or 2 games left in the season when you're facing whoever the hell it is, the Minnesota Twins at the end of the year. That's confirmed by me. The 13-3 outburst was remarkable. The 5-0 win was awesome. That Max Kepler stuff, a lot of fans frustrated because we thought the time was done. We thought it was over. It was near, and it was essentially after Rob Thompson's 6 games that he promised these fellas that there would be a platoon going on. Then the Max Kepler experience would end. Then he comes up clutch. Then he ends up having a huge day at the office, and then showed some of the personal side, showed some of the I'm a human being side with remarks during the post-game availability, whether it was with the TV broadcast and then again in the clubhouse afterwards with the local media. Here's my stance on the Kepler thing. Yes, I'm aware that he's probably going through it, and it sucks to hear that he has to really rely on his support team. And remember, he's got to stay present in what you're doing, and you're playing baseball, and don't worry about the past. If you start focusing on what was going wrong and all the past stuff, then it's going to affect how you're performing in the moment and this and that. You know, you never want to have to hear people talking about having to rely on the loved ones around them to keep them grounded, because it's very difficult and it's a tough spot to be in. And you know, it sucks. We want you to perform. We want you to be great. But the truth and the reality is the performance isn't there. I don't think it makes much sense for him to be in a platoon whatsoever. It should be Bader playing center, and it should be Brandon Marsh playing left. You leave it at that. This whole Justin Crawford thing, I don't think he's got much value on this particular team. I don't think it makes much sense. Now, I started to walk through this a little bit with Dan Wilson, Buzz, on yesterday's WIP show. If Max Kepler's power off the bench, just a bench guy, need a pinch hit, that's probably better than Justin Crawford rotting away, not being a part of this. There's no way it makes sense to platoon Brandon Marsh and Justin Crawford if you're trying to win a championship with the way Brandon Marsh is swinging the stick right now. You just continue to trot him out there and see where it goes. Now, in mid-August, it's, oh yeah, here's Justin Crawford. Like, what? Like, how are you setting him up to succeed, and how are you putting your team in the best position possible if that's the way you're operating, and that's the way you're moving behind the scenes of, oh yeah, this is going to work. This is totally the right way to get a player ready to go for the postseason. And yeah, that definitely benefits his teammates too. Here you go, Justin Crawford. You can't hit non-ground balls in AAA. Here's playoffs. It just doesn't make sense to me. But as you walk through, when would Max Kepler ever get a pinch hit spot that would make the most sense? Well, you're not going to pinch hit him for Marsh. You would pinch hit him for, I guess, Bader. But are you ever really going to take Bader out of the game? Is Bader going to be so tragic and so pathetic and so bad and so ugly at the plate that you're removing him for a 200 hitter that's a lefty, and Max Kepler for a maybe home run? Because that's what it is he can luck himself into a home run. There is some pop in that bat. It just isn't consistent and hasn't been here, and it sucks, but that's the truth and the reality of it. But when would the Max Kepler bench spot be effective and efficient? I don't see that much of a scenario. So then what's the purpose of the bench spot? And that probably won't make anyone excited because they all want him DFA'd today. But it's a very weird roster position at this particular time. I don't know. Like, it just, there's no fit for it. But there's no fit for Justin Crawford at all. At all. There's no fit for him. So stop banging on the table. It's August 6th and he's not here. Don't you think at this point it's pretty much telling you that it's not the answer? Speaking of Brandon Marsh, this guy is out of control right now. It's fun, man. Now listen, it does punch you in the gut whenever there's failure with him, excuse me, and it's rough at-bats and an 0 for 15 stretch, and he looks overwhelmed, and his swing gets gross, and all that makes you want to vomit. But because of the personality that he is, and the dog that he, and the wet hair and all, there is something to be said when he is the spark plug, and when the team is feeding off that energy, it hits different because it's him. And right now, there is a spark because of the contribution that you're getting from Brandon Marsh. I just hope that this is going to last. And he's been kicking it out for a while. All right, it's been strong and consistent for a bit. Does he get overwhelmed by starting pitching in the playoffs? Does it get different when, let's say, hypothetically, teams pitch around Bryce and Kyle, and then Nick and JT aren't living up to the standard, and now it's, all right, on your shoulders, Marsh, you got to get this done. Here's the big AB. Here's where you got to show your big testicles. Here's where you got to put your stones on the table. Is he going to be that effective with the light shining bright? I don't know. I don't know, but to this point, he definitely deserves the opportunity for it, and we'll see. But he is playing fantastic, phenomenal baseball. Taijuan Walker, just rolling through some of the things we saw in that 5-rip win, because, well, there's not much to say with this loss that they had this afternoon, other than it's another day where they look blah, they packed it in, they mailed it in, they didn't even really want to compete. Ranger was not the Ranger we like to see, not the elite Ranger. There were a couple moments where they teed off on him, and it's just not he's in grind mode. And to his credit, when Ranger is in grind mode, I think he does grind better than a lot of guys. Like, I think others would have worse stat lines. 6 1/3, 6 earned runs. Or he probably wouldn't even get to the 6 1/3 portion if he's allowing that many runs. But it might be 5 innings, 6 earned runs instead of 6 1/3, 5 earned runs. Like, I do think others have a more difficult time trying to slither through traffic, or if they allow one home run, things snowball. For example, when Luzardo is going through a rough patch, here's the truth. It gets bad. It gets ugly. Like, tattooed every single pitch. There are times where it's 6 straight hits and it's barreled up and the exit velocity is 109, and it's over and over and over and over again, and he's got no answers. Ranger has answers within the struggles, which can somewhat keep you involved if your offense was a tiny bit competent on that day, but it's not the Ranger we're looking for. Does that make sense? Because that's how it feels when I'm watching him. But Taijuan, another good day where he had, no walks? 3 consecutive outings for Taijuan Walker without walking anybody. He went 6 scoreless. And what makes the no walks important for him is, how many times do we scream, here's batting practice. Oh, here's going to be another home run. Here's going to be another blast. Oh, what's that? He allowed 3 bombs in 2 innings. Whoop-de-damn-do. Another walker. Another walker. Yeah, whoop-de-damn-do. We only allow 3 earned runs. Whoop-de-damn-do. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But my point is, with Walker, it gets rough. Well, if you're allowing free passes and if you're putting guys on base and the home runs follow, a solo shot turns into a 3-run jack. It turns into a 3-run blast. And now the game is blown open and it's hard. If you're not putting anybody on base and you're Taijuan Walker, you're not going to get creamed. You won't get pummeled into the ground as badly, which keeps your squad in place for at least an attempt to get a win, especially when you give up 0. And I'm sure everyone who paid money to be at the stadium wanted to see Duran. That's why you got the boos rained down on Rob Thompson when Lazar came in, because Brandon Marsh hit the one that gave you the separator where you didn't have to worry about Duran. It's a good and a bad place to be. The fact that you got someone that's so electric and so exciting that you want to see him in the game because he's that great at his craft, that's phenomenal. But I'd rather have the separation where he doesn't have to go. Trust me, that's a way better life to live when you can kick your feet up. If this is the postseason, and let's say we have to face the New York Mets again, and it's another NLDS, and you guys are going to war, and you got to get revenge. If I can right now lay out a scenario where Duran comes in the 9th in a 3-2 game, or you could be winning 7-2 and you don't have to worry about him coming in, as great as that light show would be, as incredible as the fans would be, and as incredible as his performance would most likely be. Give me the 7-2, kick the feet up. I'm eating popcorn and I'm shoving the popcorn in my face and I miss my mouth and it falls on my couch and now I'm digging in the cracks to make sure there's no ants. You know what I'm saying? Give me that. That's what I want. And then give me an Emilio cigar. Give me a damn Emilio cigar as well, because I would be smoking an Emilio celebratory Philly cigar like it's my job. And you should join me, because there's only one cigar to smoke. These cigars made at Fabrica Oveja Negra in Nicaragua. Locally owned, 3rd generation. So there's old school roots, new school attitude. Think about the electricity of Duran taking the mound and everything that comes with it. And the 103 mile per hour gas. That is this cigar, okay? Packed into a cigar is that Duran experience. And when I tell you I get to kick back and I get to enjoy this puppy on a late summer night where it's dark outside, I'm on my back porch, my dogs are running around, you hear the sound of summer. There's nothing better than late summer sounds of nature, okay? And then you get this taste. It is the best cigar to ever touch my lips. And if you click the link down below in the description and you go to their website and use promo code Brodes10 at checkout, you will get 10% off your purchase. So do not be a fool and get your Emilio cigars today. The Max Kepler, I call that game. The Max Kepler. The question is, where do they go from here? It's an interesting one. But I think the results tell the story. And I'm a good guy, all right? I'm not devaluing emotions. I think he's been through a lot here. But he also was begging for more playing time. And then he also made a comment, too, about how he just feels he's been battling being unlucky his whole career. Because there's numbers about expected batting average and barreling up percentage and this and that. And so there are certain not analytics, but just numbers that indicate maybe he should have a better batting average. He should have better results. He could have more to his game based off of what they're saying he's doing at the plate. But dude, you've been in the league for how long? At some point, your career is your career. You've had the unluckiest career in Major League Baseball history where for 8 years, 9 years, it's been unlucky as, hey, I've had a bad 3 weeks. Hey, I've been squaring it up over the last 2 weeks, and it's just not falling, and it's getting hard hit. But over time, you constantly hit the ball like that, you'll see the numbers. Well, you've been in the league for like 9 years, dude. If the numbers aren't coming, then there's something to the inefficiency, unfortunately. So when you beg for playing time and you bark about how you were promised this and you didn't get this, but now how ironic that you were promised the 6 games from Rob Thoat, is that throwing shade? Because I've been told that Rob Thompson sometimes like to make certain decisions, just either stick it to date. This is what you gave me. And maybe this is a stick it to, hey, you're promised your 6 little platoon games. Here you go. Do whatever you want with it. But then Kep is making some noise in the final outing. I don't know. Listen, I'm getting a little cuckoo. But whatever. Let's go to the phone, shall we? Let's go to the Anytime Hotline.
Yo, Brodes, what's going on, man? Dude, I want to talk about not the loss today. You know, it's whatever. We can just chalk it up. You know, poor outing from Ranger. We had like 8, 9 hits, so it wasn't like the bats weren't swinging at all, right? You know, whatever. What I want to talk about is Kepler, right? Because he had a good game the other day. He didn't play today, and he did a little post-game talk right after the game on the field. And I think he was addressing the boos that Lazar was getting, right? But you could tell, man, this dude is struggling, right? And I'm thinking we need to do kind of the same thing that we did for Turner, right? I mean, we got behind him. At this point in the season, you kind of just got to accept it, right? Like, he's going to be part of that platoon wherever he plays in the outfield. And he seems like the type of guy, I think he mentioned it, he's an overthinker. You can tell he's an overthinker just by looking at him, right? This shit's getting in his head a little bit, right? And it's affecting him, right? So, as a fan base, let's get behind him and let's just do our thing, right? I mean, he needs some support. Let's show him some love. We can hit another home run because we know he's capable of it. We saw it a few years ago. He's got a bat, you know, he can swing. Let me know what you think. I don't know. I'm done hating on him. He's a nice guy. And we gotta get behind him coming to postseason. See you, bro. Peace.
So thank you for the call. I don't know if I'm there. See, the difference with a Trey Turner standing ovation and a Max Kepler thing is Trey Turner, we needed to have him turn it around because he's a $300 million man who's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be your shortstop for the long term, but in theory, he's your shortstop for the long term. And if he doesn't get his head out of his ass, you're screwed and toast forever. The Max Kepler thing was a monster swing and a miss from Dave Dombrowski. Clearly overpaid, clearly overvalued, and there's not much to it moving forward. The only way I think that there's value in him at this point is strictly, again, a random bench piece that we need him for because you're so damn desperate, but there's not many times where his bat would even make that much sense when it's all said and done. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there could be more of a hypothetical chance for his bat to have some value there, but it's more just because of desperation and all your other options stink. So I think your heart's in the right place. I think you're thinking like a good human being. I do feel for him on a human level. But not to sound like Ben Simmons, it is what it is. It ran its course. The results speak for itself. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and bash the guy and say he sucks, he's this, he's that. It's sort of a very similar approach to how I started the show off, which is I know who they are. I've watched them play long enough. Me sitting here, standing ovation, Max Kepler. Is he underperforming? or is he this? With Trey Turner, he was underperforming. He's been in a rough slump, and he got out of it today with a couple of nice hits. He had the triple. When someone dives and the ball goes all the way to center field, it gives you the luxury of taking an extra bag and whatnot. But hey, to your point, to his credit, he gets to take advantage of that. But I don't know if Max Kepler is underperforming. He's probably better than this. He is better than this. I think he might be better than that, but he's not good. Instead of 200, maybe he's a 218 hitter. Instead of 200, maybe he's a 220 hitter. But it's not something that is now deserving to be in the lineup. So the standing O, the room for the impact that you're looking for isn't there. And I don't want to force the standing O in theory. Not that I think it's actually going to happen, but there's no reason to force feed it. There was a purpose for the Trey one. It felt natural and organic. I don't see the purpose for this one. We don't have to go out of our way to harshly boo him every moment moving forward, if there ever is even moments moving forward for him. But that's how I see it. But my good dude radar goes off for you. You sound like a good dude. Heart's in the right place.
All right, Brodes, 2 of 3 over the O's. I'm not going to be too negative here because it's hard to win in the MLB. All these dudes are professionals, and it's a series win. But I really would like to see this team start to get some sweeps. This could have been one of them, and I'm getting concerned about Ranger. I was on the train of if you're not going to re-sign him next year, which I don't think we are, you should probably trade him at the deadline. We didn't. Now this might, he may end up being great in the playoffs, but as of late he's been struggling. It hasn't looked good, and I'm hoping that he can bounce back and, get back to vintage Ranger before the end of the season here.
I don't think it's going to be vintage because vintage Ranger to me is about where his arm is, and he already has a lot of wear and tear throughout the season. When we get prime serious Ranger, it's because he's fresh. When he pitches a ton, it diminishes over time. Some handle it better than others, and Ranger doesn't do a good job of handling it. With that said, I wouldn't be shocked if he's got value for you in the bullpen. Just because you got Duran doesn't mean this thing is fixed. You might need Duran in the 8th. If you're going up against the Mets and Lindor and Soto and Alonso are all up and it's the heart and soul of their order and it's the 8th inning, I got to go to Duran there over Kirkland. Originally, I thought, let's not be stupid. He's your closer. You just do it. Don't overcomplicate it. But as you play out different scenarios, it would be organizational malpractice to have Duran here and then in the 8th inning go to Matt Strahm or a Ryan Kirkering against some of the other guys' best because you want to save Duran for the technical 9th and it's against their 7, 8, 9 hitters. It just wouldn't make sense. What if Kirkering can't do it? Juan Soto against Kirkering? Matt Strahm against those guys? Because Soto left-handed. What about the others? Duran, it doesn't matter. Just unleash. Reach back and let it fire. Let it rip. So, my point is, you need other presence out there. Andrew Painter, my God. Talk about horrible. I don't want to see him up there right now at all. Andrew Painter should not even be in the conversation. Andrew Painter is not even close to being an efficient pitcher enough. And it's problematic. It's not, he's recovering. No, this is problematic. It's problematic. It's problematic. 4 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, 90 pitches in 4 innings of work, only 4 strikeouts. It's bad. He had a quote that said something along the lines of, some days I feel great where I'm pounding the zone, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but then he goes along the lines of saying, sometimes I have no idea where the ball is even going. Yikes. Yikes. So, back to the Ranger Suarez point of it all. That's where you might be able to, because if you go to Duran in the 8th, and I don't know how Duran is as an up and down guy. Can Duran go 8th and 9th? I don't know. I don't know enough information about him yet. I don't know what his previous outings were like, if he was asked to do that and all, going up and down. I don't know. I don't have enough information on that yet to have a full-on opinion, so I'll need some more data. But let's say you get him for 3 outs and that's it. And like, I think I'd feel good about Ranger or maybe you use Ranger in the 8th. I'd feel good about Ranger I feel good about Ranger in the 9th against a 5, 6, 7. If Duran gets the 3, 4, 5 or 2, 3, 4, and then Ranger gets the 5, 6, 7 in the 9th. I don't feel the same way about Kirkering. I don't feel the same way about Strom. I don't feel the same way about anybody other names or anyone else that's in that bullpen. So maybe that's Ranger's role. And you look at Scott Boras and you say, go fuck off. I don't give a damn about what you want. He'll hit the market, get whatever he gets. He was a starter all year trying to win a World Series. I'll say this for the 1,000th time. If Scott Boras thinks that somehow diminishes his market, then Scott Boras isn't good at his job. Because you could spin it. Well, first off, there's enough of a sample size for teams to know what Ranger is, but you'll get overpaid in free agency if you're a dominant starter that can give you what Ranger provides. People are starving for starting pitching. So we look at it when we have Wheeler and Sanchez and when Nola's healthy, and we look at what they do, 200 innings, 200 strikeouts for Nola normally, and we look at Ranger and go, there's teams that would die for what Ranger Suarez provides us. And we look at it as, oh, God, this isn't good enough. So you can still go get your bag. If you can't sell that to a team and then sell his versatility of being a back end of the bullpen closer in postseason if needed, or at least an 8th inning setup type of guy, then you suck at your job. That's all. Then Scott Boras sucks at his job. And Scott Boras did have a pretty rough stretch there with a couple of his clients. So we'll see. Let's take another call here.
Brodes, it's been about a month since I've called you. And I can't believe I'm saying that, actually. It's been a month since July 5th. And update on the Phillies. I was right about Max Kepler. I said 20 bombs will help us into the playoffs. He's at 12, bro.
What? I love my lawn. I can't thank Green Lawn Fertilizing enough for what they've done. I'm getting another treatment very early here in August, and I'm so excited to see the next progression. It's been a journey, and it's been an amazing journey that I get to see my lawn over time progress to a beautiful lawn. Still some time to go, but where we were and where we are now, I know it doesn't happen overnight, but it's been a legitimate joy. Waking up, having my coffee, letting my dogs run around, and just seeing how it has transformed to where it is. And Green Lawn Fertilizing, they're the best in the market. Experts in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, and they're so knowledgeable, it's not even funny. What I love most about them, not only are they great people and just a fantastic company to work with because they treat you like family, but they really do educate you. They tell you why they're taking the steps that they take, what each step and treatment does. Hey, this treatment's going to kill the weeds, so it'll look like there's some dead spots in your lawn, but we're actually killing those weeds, and then we're going to plant some new grass, and then eventually you'll have that luscious green you're looking for. Well, I didn't know that that's what needs to get done for you to finally have the best lawn in the neighborhood. Well, they sit you down and they teach you, and it's a phenomenal experience. And right now, Green Lawn Fertilizing is giving you 50% off your first 2 treatments. That's 50% off your first 2 treatments by signing up in the description down below. Let me tell you about how much family is involved here between us at Brodes Media and them at Green Lawn Fertilizing. True story. Listeners of the program, who I love you all so much, you know that. It got to the point where they reached out to Green Lawn Fertilizing, not just for home purposes. They now work for Green Lawn Fertilizing. That's the type of parallel we're talking about as relationships and people and family. It's like, oh yeah, listen to Brodes, bada bing, bada bing. Now they're working for Green Lawn Fertilizing. That's how we align with our morals, with our work ethic, with our determination, with our pride. You see that? Telling you, one big happy family. Make sure you check out the link down below in the description to get started today. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me. I don't know how much longer I could have taken to that call. Shame on me. I know. You guys are the best. I love you. We'll be talking soon.